So, Katie, obviously the focus now is on rescue and cleanup.
Yeah, Adrienne, in neighborhoods just like this one, trees are down, debris is littered everywhere, and the power is out. The cleanup effort is well underway, but the main focus right now is on those search and rescue efforts. The race to save a 14-year-old boy in shoulder-deep floodwaters as he clings to debris to keep afloat. Rescue missions are the priority. Few more difficult than this operation at an assisted living facility. Many seniors were asleep as floodwaters crept into their rooms. Storm surge made for dangerous conditions up and down the Gulf Coast, leaving behind a wide swath of destruction.
How are you feeling?
Exhausted, but ready to rebuild and get the house back to normal.
The roof of Tropicana Stadium peeled and tossed away. The cots inside were supposed to be for first responders, a reminder of how dangerous this work can be.
The storm was significant, but thankfully this was not the worst case scenario.
Even with winds topping 200 kilometers per hour and storm surge of 3 meters, Milton was not as strong as expected. Still, the aftermath is brutal. Adding to the misery here, some of the hardest hit communities were still trying to recover from Hurricane Helene less than 2 weeks ago.
So this is where the water line went. You can see the sea.
North of Sarasota, in the city of Palmetto, Sheila Haskell says she's relieved Milton was not as bad as Hurricane Helene.
What on earth is it like to have two massive hurricanes back to back?
Emotionally draining.
The second blow from Milton unleashed a new level of destruction.
Is there anything that's salvageable?
Not really. I mean, pretty much nothing. We saved some of our personal stuff, but...
Logan Dowd gathered his family, including his pet ducks named Holland Oats, to get out before Milton made landfall, leaving behind a blunt message.
Just as PG-13 as I could put it, to tell him what I felt.
But beneath the tough exterior here, nerves are frayed.
I guess the only thing I could say is that
It's okay. No, it's okay. It is emotional.
Yeah.
Tell me what you're feeling.
Sad. I mean, these guys here have been through a lot.
James Sheffield and his wife Stephanie describe feeling guilty. Their home is okay, while their neighbors have suffered so much.
It's just really hard watching everybody go through it. They're all super good people and don't deserve it. Not that it could be helped, but, you know, I just don't know.
Adrienne, one comfort in all of this is the sense of community. We saw neighbors working together to clear debris. They're sharing food, they're sharing supplies. There's a real sense that they're going to try to move through this cleanup effort as a team, no matter how difficult it gets.
Well, and it sounds like it's going to get pretty difficult. I mean, just looking at you in the dark there, I think the lack of power must be a huge problem.
Yeah, it's not in this area. It's not expected to have the power restored anytime soon. Thousands of workers were actually pre-positioned in Florida ahead of Milton's arrival, just as a way to be prepared so that once it was safe, they could get out on the road and start restoring power. But when there are these kinds of major weather events, that's always one of the biggest challenges.
Absolutely. Katie Simpson, thank you. There's also immense damage tonight from the multiple tornadoes that were whipped up by Milton.
These tornadoes came out of nowhere. I can't think of a time where we had one confirmed tornado, much less that many of them in that short of a period, in that high contact. It's just, northern St. Lucie County is just devastated.
That sheriff speaking in front of the St. Lucie County Sheriff's Office, part of it ripped down onto the parked police vehicles below. There's damage throughout the region, homes blown apart, a trailer bed jabbed into this roof like a knife. The force of these tornadoes matching or exceeding the hurricane itself. And so we take you now east to St. Lucie County in the area where those tornadoes wreaked so much havoc. And that is where Aaron Collins is tonight. Aaron, can you give us a sense of what's happening there in St. Lucie County and particularly what's happening right behind you?
Yeah, right behind me, Adrienne, you can see that's a semi-trailer on its side. Obviously, not a lot of light left here. The sun has set in this part of Florida, in this part of the world, but that's a semi, just to give you a sense of how powerful the winds that whipped through this part of the state of Florida were. Now, these aren't hurricane winds, right? These are some of the many, many tornadoes that were both spotted and made touchdown here in this part of Florida. So more than 120 recordings or warnings of hurricanes in this area. That's a state record. We're hearing more than a dozen actually touch down. And these have been very deadly encounters. Just down this road, there's a small retirement community for people over 55. We're hearing that at least 5 people in that community have died, maybe more. And you can just see as you come down this road, this truck, one example of it, but other overturned semis, power lines down. There's very little cellular connectivity here. You can see the activity that's going on to clean this place up and to get these people here reconnected. But this is an area that reminds me a lot of the sort of tornado alley stuff that we know very well on the prairies of Canada.
All right, Aaron Collins in St. Lucie County tonight. Thanks, Aaron. Now, the immediate danger of the hurricane and all those tornadoes is now past, but the situation for residents is far from safe. Sarah Levitt explains the dangers that lurk.
In Clearwater, Florida, residents get help from first responders, one of the many rescue missions overnight in southern Florida.
Seeing this is kind of crazy because, like, living here 18 years, I never expected this to happen.
These people were saved, the property and cars, though, underwater. Milton has passed, but the danger hasn't. Some places will see water levels continue to rise for days, just one of the risks.
We've actually had more people lose their lives after some of our hurricanes.
Craig Fugate was the FEMA administrator under Barack Obama. He says downed power lines, flooding, and cleanup efforts can be unsafe.
If you're not somewhere where you're in danger, stay where you're at, stay home. Let them get the roads open. Let them complete the search and rescue.
This year so far has been the worst.
Newfoundlander Tony Anderson works for Nova Scotia-based East Coast Powerline. The linesman was just in Georgia helping restore power after Hurricane Helene. Now he's in Orlando.
Poles broke off everywhere, transformers on the ground, wire down, and like the trees just kind of took a lot of things down.
Financial analysts say the extent of the damage could be in the tens of billions of dollars. The cleanup effort, months long.
I don't know what to say. It's a lot.
And experts say future storms are expected to get even stronger.
Climate change is certainly tipping the scales on these monster storms. These are record-breaking temperatures across the Gulf of Mexico, and the heat that is trapped in the vast surface layers of the ocean is the fuel.
Not exactly calming predictions for those on the ground as they process the damage and pick up the pieces. Sarah Levitt, CBC News, Montreal.